Okay, guys, so I can get your attention. All right, so yesterday we first just started with dot manipulation, right? And there might be some mixed feelings about that. Some of you guys might feel like it's great. Some of you guys might still be like trying to get a hold of it, which is totally understandable. It's your first time ever doing it. Okay. The project that we're doing we're gonna do on Monday. You're gonna have all Monday to do it, but you can also start it at the end of the day today and work on it throughout the weekend if you choose to. This is the first time we're doing this very, very light initial project. So, work on it, but don't stress about it. Don't take it super seriously, okay? So, if in the end, if you just want to do HTML and CSS and do a little portfolio project, maybe have some click events that do a couple of little CSS transitions, that suffices. That's great, okay? If you want to go, crazy and throw in a bunch of JavaScript and even throw in some axios and some API requests, then feel free. I'm going to show you how to do that today, the axios, but this is optional for your project, just so you know. Okay, so don't worry too much about it. Okay, because today this is also going to be a reasonable amount, and the lab is also a little difficult. So you'll only be getting one lab and doing this, and then I want to make sure you guys get today's lab and yesterday's lab really good, really well, whatever, and then you can start your projects. Okay, so axios. Has anyone ever heard of an API? Right? Okay. So API stands for Application Programming Interface. Basically, what it means is it's just someone else's data, basically, that you can use, right? Like Spotify has an API, like a lot of companies do, right? There's a big list of them, actually. And I'll share this with you, too. List of APIs. And this is just a small list. This is not even scratch the surface of all the APIs out there. But there's basically an API for everything you can imagine, right? Like there's an API, for instance, there's a dog API, right? And basically here you have just pictures of puppies, right? And then you can get them the specific ones that you want. So if I went to this URL, I would just get back this picture of a puppy. And if I did it again, another random photo of a puppy, right? And then and so forth, one more, right? And then we have another one, okay? He's a cutie. All right. Then not only do I get just random pictures, but I can request specific things. And every API is going to be different. This was written by some other developer somewhere else in the world, and he gets to decide how to structure his API. So I could do it maybe by breed, right? So for instance, how would I do that? These are hounds, okay? So in this situation, I get a bunch of pics of hounds, right? Okay? And that's structured in the URL, as you notice. I can't make this URL bigger, but it's in there, the word hound, if you can't see it. So if I did something else like Frenchie, maybe? I don't know how to know. What's up? Retriever? Pitbull. That's easier to spell. Pitbull. No? Retriever. Alright. Lab. Super easy to spell. Labrador? Labrador? There we go. Okay. Alright, there we are. We should all be proud of ourselves. Alright. So, basically, if you wanted to, for instance, you could use all this data or data like this on your project, right? It could be anything. And there's definitely more than dog APIs. There's one for just about anything you could imagine, right? So some APIs are more difficult than others. some APIs require authentication and certain keys and stuff like that. We're going to try to keep it to the easy ones, especially for right now. When you get further on in Module 2, you'll be writing your own API. So basically, you'll be having it so that you write this part, the back end part, and you make calls to yourself. And that's what is known as a full stack developer. Okay? So, but for now, all you're going to do is use somebody else's and probably just do GET requests, not posts. So, moving forward, like I know there's other ones too. There's a lot of them. But some of them can be really weird and hard to use. Just don't use those. For now. Okay. All sorts of stuff. Okay. So, what is axios? Okay. Axios is a way of mimicking going to this URL and getting this data. Okay. You can also do this with fetch. You can also do this with jQuery's get method. There's a lot of ways to do this. Axios is a library that we're going to be using that makes it simpler. So, let's go ahead and do that. FYI, this part is also very experimental. This is usually reserved for week 4. So we're pulling this into week 1 again. So if you get lost, like it's understandable. And if you don't want to use APIs, don't feel bad. Okay. So just like we included this, okay, I started this little project here with just index.js and index.html. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to say axios and API stuff. Okay, and just like before with our JavaScript, this is a link to someone else's JavaScript. This is a link to Axios. This is made by somebody else, and you don't have to do that. Okay, so we'll take this and we'll put it here, and now we should have Axios available to us. And just to test it, I'll go ahead and I'll just console log Axios. And let's go ahead to, I don't think I've opened anything yet. No? Oh, I didn't link my JavaScript. So what do I have to do? Right here. Index.js. Very good. Okay, make this a little bigger. Refresh. And that is something we can assume it's Axios. Okay? So, cool. How does this work? So, like I said, we're going to use this REST countries API. So, for instance, just like the dogs, you can go here to this, and you can put a country in here. Belize, is that a country? Yes. Okay. And you can put whatever country you want, and it'll show up. Okay. So, how do we now get this to be on our web page? Right. That's how we use Axios. So, you can search by capital city, etc. So, Postman is a way of mimicking posts. I might skip that for now, but let's just go ahead and do effectively what we want to do is this. I'll show you the simplest way, and then we'll do it. Okay. So, there's the country name. Okay, right? And I don't know. Someone shout out a country. Canada? Okay, Canada. Okay, so to get it, if I say axios.get, right, that effectively goes there and gets it. Okay, this can take time. Okay, so you have to have what's known as a promise to wait for it to be done before you do something. You might see online stuff like async and await, and we might get into that later. But right now, we're just going to use a dot then. We're going to chain it as dot then, and we're going to say stuff from API, okay? And then we're just going to console.log stuff from API, okay? So this is syntax that you'll get used to. Take it, refresh, and there, inside of data, we have stuff about Canada, okay? Similarly, if I was to go to random image and do axios.getRandomImage, I would go back, I would refresh, and here inside data I have, it's called message for some reason, but you can see I have this URL, which is a picture of a dog. Okay? So that's as simple as you can get, right? Sometimes you're going to get arrays, sometimes often you'll get arrays of objects, but for this situation you're just getting one simple thing. Okay? So this is what comes back, and then you can do whatever you want with it. Yeah? This blue arrow? Huh? That's just like a VS Code plugin. It's just equal fat arrow. Yeah. Yeah, it's just an arrow. It's just equal fat arrow, but I forget what the plugin is. I can find it, but basically you can do that, and that's it. Okay. In here now you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with this data. Okay. So, for instance, say I wanted to, put it into the DOM, right? So let's go ahead. There's countries axios.create. Okay. You'll see often sometimes too, this is a catch, and that's just in case you get an error. Okay. So for instance, if I add that here, and I do something like this, and I console log the error, I should see an error. And I do, right here. This is my error. Okay, request failed, can't get that. Okay, so it's good practice to have this catch error thing too. It might save you, like in the future. But if it's confusing, you can just use the regular get. Okay. Most of the stuff's going to happen in there. And often you might just want to do something really simple like this so that it doesn't take up too much space. Okay. So, that said, one other thing to note is that in your network tab, you'll also see outgoing requests. Right there. Boom. See how that took a minute? That's why you need the then, right? So, you'll see that here. And you'll see exactly where you're making the call to, and the status, and how long. Okay? So, if you wanted to do both, I don't know if I should go into promises yet. Let's keep going with the lecture, and I'll come back to that. Okay. I think we're going to stick with this. I think I'm going to take it back to the dog. Not the breed. I think the dog's the better. Okay. So I'm going to get back to this dog, and I want to show this image on in my HTML. How do I do it?
Get the axios by getting stored to a variable. Get the property name that you put the property that you want from the array.
Okay.
And for instance,
Okay. A little more specifically, right now I have this. It's inside of data, and here's the URL. So data.message. So in here, I have stuff from API, .data, .message, and there's my URL that goes to a puppy. Okay? So, huh? What? Oh, a full-grown Doberman. I call them all puppies. All right. So now what do I do with this? I got. How would I show it? Document something, right? Remember how we added HTML? We added a row yesterday. We could do something like that. So document dot. How do you want to do it? Okay. So like a new image, or what do you mean? I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it kind of like we did yesterday. So we'll say let. Huh?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say make that a variable.
Let HTML equal something like this. Image whose source is equal to what? Right, right. So there we go. And then what? Document dot body say dot append, or you could add it to a div if you want. But we're just gonna do this right now. Let's just call this image. Image. All right. So I save it. I refresh. Whoops. I always forget. Yeah, I think you can just do inner HTML. I don't know. There's a way to do that. Plus equals something like that. Okay. Right. Uh-oh. Right. Takes a minute. But there they are. Okay. Super simple. Right. Now, I could go ahead and do whatever I want. I could say for let I equals 20, if I is less, oh sorry, for I equals 0, if I is less than 20, I plus plus, boop, cut, enter, and I'm going to make 20 API requests, and I might get kicked off the API. Thank you. Doop 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 doop. Right? Yeah. Typically, you probably. Which one? What is this big guy? Oh man! All right. Nice. Okay. Right. So. You probably would not want to do this in a for loop. You probably can get a bunch of them on one request, but you can do a lot of things, clearly. It depends on the API, again. So what you're going to do is you're going to resort to the docs, and you're going to see whatever the docs say, and every API is going to have different documentation, and you're going to hope that they have a way for you to do it. And if they don't, then you do it this way, right? So, see, right there. Display multiple images from all dogs collection. Right? So they got it for you. So instead, all I have to do is something like this. I can get rid of this loop. And this is not going to work anymore, right? Because I'm going to have an array. So what I'm going to do is probably end up doing something in the, like putting the loop back in here. Something like this. Okay. And I'm probably going to have to do something like this. And before I run it, let me just make sure I see what's up. So we go save. We go back. We go refresh. And now I have, see, in my message, I got 20 picks. So I just have to make one request. I don't have to make 20 requests, which will be much faster, right? And APIs might actually stop you if you are making constant requests like that. So now I can just go ahead and say, okay, boom. We're going to loop through stuff, data message, I. And that might do it. And then we refresh, and there we go. And you can know, you can actually see the speed difference, right? Yeah, right? Just made one request now. Okay. This is the preferred approach. Lucky their API provides it. And you'll be writing your own API with stuff like this later. Okay? So, that said, they go into chart.js a little bit to display stock prices. We could do that. Okay. Okay, let me walk me through on how we would do that. Okay, I'm going to create another file. Can't do that. Why not? Where's the new file button? Touch stocks.js. Okay. Another file. I'm going to link to this one instead. Okay. So I got an empty file. Okay. Now how do I create this from stock prices? So we'll start from the very beginning. We're also going to be using another library called chart.js just for this specific thing. Okay. There's tons of libraries. I don't want it to be too confusing. So I'm just going to throw this in right now. And you can know this is available. Another bunch of code somebody else wrote that you can use. Okay? So, what's the first thing I do for stock charts? You might see axios.create like this, but I think it's simpler to do it the way I did it. Let's go to this URL, and let's see what we get back. Boom. Okay, this might not work. Let me see. Slash chart, maybe. Just slash chart, or what do I have to? AMZ? Amazon? Like this? AMCN? Oh, ZN. Yeah, Amazon. Gotcha. No, not happening. So, let's just, won't let that stop us. We'll just say stock. Well, you know what? We'll let that stop us. My computer's lagging. Okay. Now we'll look up for a stock one here. So these require API keys, which we can do. You can do, and you pass it through in the URL as well. But let's look for one that doesn't, because it's just going to be easy. And that's too much information for us. API documentation. Every one of these companies is going to be different, right? So you just kind of have to like surf through it and find eventually what you want. Will look something like this, right? You get this URL, and you can just plug it into what? How did I do it? Get to an A. Axios.get. Boom. Then what? Then you can also structure it like this. Stock data. Fat arrow. Console.log. Stock data. Save it. And now, just like before, if I have it anywhere, we have an object with our stock data, right? Object.data and all this stuff, right? So just like that, you can get data on anything you want. Okay. So, how does the rest of this go? Don't know if this is going to translate so easily anymore, because we don't have any dates like this in our data. So I'm gonna ignore this. I'm gonna ignore the rest of this lesson here, because this didn't work. Unless I did something wrong. Did I do something wrong? No. AMZN chart, right? No, I did something. I did that right. Boom, boom, AMZN / chart. Forbidden. Take off the S. Forbidden. Not happening. Okay. We'll ignore the chart for now, but you can do it. Okay, moving on. Post and put. Okay? So alternatively to get, where you get data, there's another thing very common called post. Posting is how you save data. Okay, so like when you sign up, when you log in, you're posting, giving people your email and your password, stuff like that. When you add a picture to like Instagram or whatever, you're probably posting, right? It's a RESTful API. You're posting to a URL. They're listening. They're getting your pic, and they're adding it to your profile, right? Something like that. So that is known as a post when you send data, okay? And you can also do that with axios. Yeah, so forms, right, are the most traditional way. Okay, forms have two methods. You can just get when you go to a web page, you do a GET request. That's why this works when I just go here. I actually am doing a GET request. Okay, and then they're like, oh, you came here, here's data. You went to Google, here's Google, right? But when you do a post, right, you use a form often. This is the traditional way of doing it, and that's because that you don't actually need JavaScript at all. Not only do you not need axios, you don't even need JavaScript to do a post with a form. But if you want to do like more modern kind of techniques where you don't actually have to go to different pages to post it, stuff like that, you're probably going to want to use JavaScript. And then we're going to use axios. So a form's like another way of posting. You can kind of combine them too if you want. So that said, let's go ahead and look at Ironhack's API for what? For movie characters. Okay, cool. Got a bunch of movie characters. Might be Patience, I don't know that one. Okay, all right, whatever. So here we should be able to, and you might see put and patch. This is like a way usually of updating, but you can still do it with post and you can still do it with put. For now, just worry about get, post, and yeah, put and patch is going to be update. We'll go over all of it. Okay, so posting with axios. Okay, so right here, I'm going to just take all this time. Okay, and I'm going to go, and this wasn't very exciting, so I'm just going to replace that with this. Okay, and how am I going to get this to work? Take a look at this. What do I need to do? What do I need on my index, my HTML? What's that?
Yeah, there was some HTML.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay. What they're mentioning is that right here, they're looking for an element that has ID post Wally, so I can unclick it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a button in my HTML. All right. With the ID of that. Okay. And post Wally. All right. And now refresh, and I post Wally. Boom. Post successful. Dad is there, Wally's there, but most importantly, Wally's now here twice because I clicked it twice, right?
If you refresh the page, it's just gonna disappear, right? Where you posted.
Nope.
So how's it being saved?
Someone else wrote the code on the other end, which you guys will learn how to do later.
So it's being saved on their database?
Uh-huh. It's being saved at on this website. Okay? And probably cleared periodically, otherwise this would turn into a big mess.
What if we try to pass key and values that they already have?
It should work. But depends on their database. They can make it so that it might not work. But it's a great question. And that's a little further than we're going to get today, but we'll try it out real quick. So say you're saying if you do something like, I don't know, like this, and say like, I don't know, what is it, like 20 inches, right? I doubt they have that, okay? How old is Wally? Is he old? Is he 1,000?
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Or about on a ship that's been up in space for like 150 years or something like that. So like,
All right, we're gonna go with 1,000 years, 1,000 years. Okay. Thank you. Did you Google that? All right. 700 years. All right. So let's see if it might not show up because if they decided not to save that stuff. Post Wally, saved again. Go here, refresh. Oh my God, what happened? How many times did I click this thing? But it didn't save. Yeah, what did I do? Yeah, no. So in their model, they probably don't have these things. But you could post something else, right? Right? And why did that do it so much? Refresh. Unless you guys doing it along with me or no? Well, there I am at the end once. I don't know what happened here. But, okay. Either way, so that's kind of how you'll end up saving stuff and saving to the database. Probably won't be, yeah.
Why are there so many instances involved?
I don't know. I think like something, maybe I clicked it a bunch of times, I don't know. Not on this side. Not here. I have no for loop. And it's just on a one-click event. Something funky happened. I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, who knows? Maybe this class is also being taught in like, Mexico City right now. So who knows? Any more? Okay, no. All right. So that's how you do posts, and that's like very basic. I'm mostly showing you this because of the lab, but you probably are not going to use that on your project unless the API allows you to post, which you probably won't get an API that's going to let you post, but you might.
Okay, so on the API, request from the API, we get something that is unique to ours. So if we post something to the API, other people will be able to see it.
Mm-hmm. So when you post to an API, it's going to be on someone else. You're giving someone else data, and they'll be able to do whatever they want with it.
So generally, we won't be able to post to other people's API.
Most APIs are probably not going to just let you post without having some sort of authentication or doing something like that. But that said, there are a lot of APIs that will let you post. But really, I would focus on the get right now and just showing the data. And you have enough already with that. Looping through and doing CSS. Remember CSS? Yeah, so we still got to work with that too, yeah?
Is there any reference if I have it on web server so I can post the data to my web server?
If you have your own server?
Like a shared server, yeah.
Yeah, you can post to your own server, but then is your server, it's online? Everything's on, so it's, yeah. So how do you are you going to save it? Do you have like a database?
Well, that's why I'm asking if there's a reference, if there's like a reference where I can like do it.
No, I think that's module 2.
Okay.
That's starting to include databases and that kind of thing. If you have one already, you can use it, but to learn it now, no. Stick with this. This is only one of 4 projects, so don't. That said, we'll do a quick example of the edit, and that should be enough for you guys to just kind of get this lab going. So, I'm going to jump ahead just to illustrate it. This is kind of, there's a lot going on here. Okay. There's a lot, but let me just get this chunk just to show it working. I know this is a lot of code here. And then we also need an update form on submit. Okay, let's look and see if that update form is here somewhere. Update form, there it is. You can go ahead and it's going to grab all this HTML just to show it working. Okay. All right. Save it. And now if I wanted to post data, I could use a form, or I could type it into a text box. I could go document.getElementById, .innerText, just like you did when you were doing the multiplication of numbers yesterday. I could get that, and then I could post it like up here. So this, I could create an object, and then I could send the object. One thing I forgot to tell you guys: there's one difference between the gets and the posts. One big difference, and that's in the post takes a second thing right here, which is what you're posting. Okay, so it takes a second object. So basically, if you look at the get request, it was simple, right? It was just a URL, and then you had the .then. But in the post request, you have this one more thing, and that's what you're sending, right? Okay? Is that kind of clear? In this situation, it's this guy. Okay? Cool. And let's go ahead and see if this works real quick. So, go back to our HTML, and if it works, I'll explain it. So we're going to update character by ID. Luke Skywalker has ID number 2. So we'll do him, right? Character ID 2. And we're going to change Luke Skywalker to Publix chicken sub. Right? Or that'll be his weapon, really. All right, so that. All right. Where's Marcos when you need him? We'll use Nick. Crispino, this is you. Okay? All right. And we go TA. And let's see if it works. Update. No. Not yet. Okay. The names. What is all this stuff? Don't I have that in my HTML? I just took it.
It's above your. There's like one more input.
Whereabouts? Right here?
In your HTML, so like you have a thing that you can enter anything in.
Oh yeah? Where? Which one? Where? You don't. I don't know.
Yeah, just go back.
To my browser.
Yeah, so you're in there. Which character would you like to?
Oh, input ID. Sorry, my bad. So I guess I do this. Get character. Weird. No. The names is not defined. Let's just say. Okay. I'll just get rid of all this nonsense. Okay. And.
Nice weapon,
And we'll say pubs up. Okay. All right. And the ID we'll just say is 2. All right. And theoretically, this should work, but who knows? Because we go copied and pasted a bunch of code. So we just have to hit update. Said update successful, and then we had some other issue. But if we go and we look, Luke Skywalker has been defeated, right? And they're at the pub sub. Okay? Cool, right? So that's how you do an update. You can use patch. You could also have used post or something, but this is the usually patch or put. This is good practice. Mm-hmm.
So I see you did it in the JS side. What about like on the actual site? You didn't type it.
Right. So like we had this form, right? And typically you'd get the data from the form and you'd kind of transfer it over to the JS side. But there was like some sort of bug, I don't know. And so I would just kind of skip that part. But you would typically do like a document.get element by ID .inner text or something like that, or document query selector input .value, just like you did yesterday with the thing. So focus on that maybe first. You'll be doing it in this lab as well, right? And yeah. Okay. All right. So, like I said, we'll be going over this again. You'll be doing this like for the rest of the course. So, if you don't get it now, you'll get it later. And if you don't want to, if this is like, just like too confusing and you're still like just trying to get your handle on Ironcart and stuff like that, just focus on that. And just focus on JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. Make a nice basic portfolio site. Totally can be amazing, can be beautiful. You can focus on design. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. Okay, so this is sort of extra credit, but you can do it. So let's go ahead and just do this one last lab. And before you can do the lab, I think everyone, just to do this lab, I think everyone has to have Node installed. Does everyone have Node installed pre-work? No? I will. As soon as it loads. I don't know why the internet's so slow right now. Okay. So we're not going to get too much into what Node is. Are there any? Are you using a Mac? Yeah, you're a Mac. Is anyone else installing Node that's not using a Mac? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. I think, should we do it this? We don't want Node version manager. I think, guys, to tell you the truth, the easiest way to do this is just to go to nodejs.org and download this one. Either one will work fine. Then just just run through the installer. Like anything else, I'll send the link out. Let me just make sure you guys need it, because you need it for this one project, I believe. We're gonna do this on Monday. It's really simple. So yeah, those of you guys who don't have it, go to this website and follow the installer. Cool. And once you do have it, run this anywhere on in your terminal. Okay, I'll send this over as well. And even if you have it, you can run it again. It'll just update it. Okay, what's this doing is it's just installing a global package. Okay, so let me go ahead and send it to you guys as well. Anywhere in terminal or git bash or whatnot. Right? Okay. In quotes? like 3 backticks. 3 backticks. Okay. So, anyone having any issues with installation? Are you guys running through it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right. Sudo, S-U-D-O, and then S-S-U, like the alphabet. Okay. U-D-O, space, You in it? Right. Okay, if everyone gets like permission errors, yes. Yeah, you have to type S-U-D-O first. Sudo, and then paste it, and then when I ask for your password, and you type it in, you press enter. Thank you. Yep. To see if it's already installed? You can just type probably JSON server -v, and it'll tell you what version it is if it's there. Otherwise, it'll say like doesn't exist, something like that. Yeah. No worries. No. Please.
I need like a 1-minute crash course on how.
Oh wait, before we get into this, let me finish this.
Okay.
Anyone else having installation issues with Node or JSON server? I'll come around after, yeah? What's up, Cole? What's the setting?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So I install a package. And let
me see, you already installed Node, right? Did you already have Node installed?
I didn't.
Okay. And so now,
Wait around.
okay, that's fine. And then you install it, running that command, so you can install it. After you install JSON server. You got it? Okay. I don't know if you can do from command prompt. JSON dash server. Yeah.
So you know it's like a console thing with that.
Yeah, sort of. No, I don't know what you do with dash. It's like a page.
Where does it run? Does it run inside Visual Studio?
You can run it inside Visual Studio, but you can also run it from China.
No. So your terminal will refresh.
That's the command line.
So how do I do it? How do I use it?
Every person will have to block permissions and provide these types of view as a password, but you don't have to do that.
Give dash.
Yeah, I think I have.
Well, actually, we don't have Visual Studio.
You have to try to open.
JSON server.watch. Oh, what's going on? Maybe there's a Windows alternative?
Yeah.
Try git bash.
Say that again.
Are you trying? Are you doing it with Windows too?
Yeah.
Is it working?
No, I did it like
Huh?
I did it like a long time ago, but it's
Yeah.
Oh, do you have it? How do you do it?
There. It's just the same thing as sudo. When you install it manually, you just have to enter it and then if I install it, it's just like let's go there and install npm install build.js.
Node.js.
Sometimes yeah,
When I install.
Give me 1 sec. Windows. Install JSON server.
Sorry, Windows.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. I got it. npm install g. No, you don't need the GS.
That's a command?
Here, watch it.
Yeah.
Reinstalling. Small
Do you mean JSON server?
Hmm?
Do you mean JSON server?
JSON server is not recognized.
Now it's like, oh, I don't know why.
So what happens if you do it in that phase? Say not installed. Oh, you have it.
Oh, here. It's a comment. npm install JSON server.
This right here.
G.
JSON server.
Yeah, JSON.
Yeah, we
Dash server.
we did that. I see.
No, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Okay, there you go. But if you have it, you can't have it, you have to have it. So it's-
I sent you a message on Slack. Just running as technical problem. That's right.
So wait, what are you trying to install?
See it later.
Oh, and oh, so go use Slack. You go paste it. Run that. Okay.
Now, okay, it's working on the
You do. You have to proceed with NPX. That seemed to work for.
Through, wait. Yeah, there you go. That's it? To allow. Yeah, so it's one of these, right? So, just control over. That's like expressions.
So, do you want to quit your control? I'm gonna do that. I'm glad you came up. Stay here for a minute. I'm and do what I'm going to tell everyone to do. Okay, so for Windows users, you might have to precede the JSON server command with npx. This seemed to work, at least just right now. So let's real quickly go back to where we were. And I'll try to get everyone to have this running. Okay, let's see. So after we ran this command, did everyone run this command? Everybody? Yeah? Everyone installed Node, everyone installed JSON server. Okay. So now what you're going to want to do is, why did I get that? After you do this, right, you're going to want to create a file, a directory called myFakeAPI, and inside create a file called db.json. Okay? Okay, so right here, anywhere on your computer, I'm going to do it still in here. I'm going to make a directory called myFakeAPI. You should do this. Do as well. MyFakeAPI. Okay. And then I'm going to cd into myFakeAPI. And I'm going to touch db.json. Okay. You can also do this through Visual Studio. I'm going to copy all this stuff. Sure. Okay. So all I did was create myFakeAPI, the directory. So mkdir to make a directory, and then cd'd into it, and then create a file. You can also do this with Visual Studio, and you'll see that myFakeAPI is now, if you want, you can do it this way, George? Sure, sure. Right there? Yeah. I put it inside of all the other stuff I was doing. You can put it anywhere on your computer. You're not going to actually use it after this demonstration. You're going to use a different one probably, I think. But we'll see.
But isn't this just for Windows users?
No,
Oh.
it's for everybody. Windows users just have one extra thing to do when they run it.
Okay, so db.json db.json.
Yeah, just db.json. So if you look here, I have my fake API. Inside, I have this empty file, and I'm pasting this thing.
You need to create like an empty file.
Mm-hmm.
You need to. Yeah.
Just for this demonstration, yeah. I'm gonna look and see, and then just paste the cities thing into it. So I got that from here. Okay. I'll send this link. I'll just send the whole cities API thing out. I'll just send the link out. Sending the link out. Okay. All right. Once you're there, now you can run from terminal, or you can also run in Visual Studio if you prefer. You can go ahead and say terminal, new terminal, and then here, right, cd into my fake app API probably, and then here, I'm going to paste this command, okay? And that's going to work for Mac users, but for Windows users, you might have to precede this command with npx. Okay? Now, if I go to localhost 80 cities, right here, if I can go there, in my browser, I will repeat all this, so don't worry. I will see cities. Ta-da! So this is my this is my fake API. And this is my fake route that I go to. And if you look back, let's go ahead and look back at what I did. In db.json, I have cities. I also have boot camps, right? So if I went to localhost 8000, probably boot camps. Ta-da, right? So this is your fake API. It's kind of like a database. Okay? So this is your command to run it. Anyone who's not there? Okay. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
If you want, now if you ever want to close it, if you guys ever want to close terminal, Control C. Hold Control, hit C. Now close it. If you want to stop it. Huh? So
that's what we did. So it already created.
So moving along, close this.
There you go. It's already live. So you didn't have it. So it's to get the files. You have Harrison go ahead.
That's the database. I'm not a real database. Now you can run terminal.
So
Still said that 4,000 was the
I'm gonna just type in JSON.
No. Yes. So you would say E-R-T.
No, I've seen it.
No. We need it for the last level.
Yeah, I think you're just like a local.
Oh. Yeah.
So you're just
Okay, so see, it doesn't exist, so create with some false. Yes. So basically, it's when to go over. So page. Might be opening. So, scroll down to the bottom. Do control V. Or control C. Yep. Go ahead and try. So go into your CD, go into the if you press tab, it should CD space tab.
Guys, feel free to delete any of the JavaScript that came by default lab if it's confusing. Okay? So like, you can just do axios.get like we did, like I did. Don't have to use all this handlers necessarily. But if you want to, you can. But also feel free to delete it.
So CD space tab.
So these
Okay, now try running it. Yeah. So that should be with that.
and then you store it.
One second. One second. Okay. If anyone wants to be on teams, there's a poll out there. If not, that's cool. If you guys want to just pick your own teams, also cool.
We're gonna use $3
Oh, no, really? There's a limit?
Upgrade is simple.
Oh, God.
Don't vote. Don't vote.
I like it. Yeah. Anyone still having trouble getting set up?
So setting up the API. I walked out the house.
Okay, I'll do it in a second. All the JavaScript there, guys, it's up to you whether or not you want to keep it or not. It looks to me like it's a little confusing. I would just not, but. Say, hey, look. You control C here, and you go through or you probably
Yes.
So it's just like,
Yeah, I really like
I have to look back.
There's another article, like I said.
Just as much easier, like, pressing a button.
So what you need now is four. Ignore this.
I always vote for something that's like work on your own, but also good for people.
I like that. Whatever's productive.
We're gonna set up like an environment where we're in groups where each of us have our own thing we have to do. Like as if we're working in real like
We could.